everybody, John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. Today we're going to be going over the very first chapter of the 2 + 2 = I'm hurt book, which is going to deal with rear end collisions. It's going to teach you how you can be hurt now and how it can affect you for the rest of your life, and most important, what that insurance adjuster doesn't want you to know. So stick around, there's a lot to learn. Here we go. John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. We are going to be going over today the very first chapter of this book, 2 + 2 = I'm Hurt. It's available on Amazon, but you don't have to go buy it because we're going to be going through this chapter by chapter. We're trying to give this information away. I'm not trying to make any money on it. I want you to have this information. I want you to be protected. So here we go. Now, let me just get all this information out of the way because it's the obligatory disclaimer language. I am a lawyer. I've been practicing law for 45+ years now, and I'm a good lawyer. This is what I do, is personal injury, but I'm not your lawyer, and I won't be your lawyer unless you hire me. And I would love to look at your case. We love helping people. We certainly would appreciate you contacting us, and if you want to begin that process, you can follow these links right here. They'll take you to my office and you can begin that process. Or if you're the impatient type like I am, you can pick up that phone and call me right now at 888-WE-FIGHT, and we'll get started looking at your case right away. Now, this is YouTube, and we know that there's a grumpy old man named Algorithm. He's mad at the world, gets up mad at the world, goes to bed mad at the world. So we're doing everything we can to keep him happy. His girlfriend is the same way. Her name is Miss Analytics, and we're doing all we can to keep the both of them happy. So if you would, please like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Let's get started. So in the description, you're going to find some information about how we calculate force. There is a mathematical formula for it, and it measures the force in what are called meganewtons. And you can actually calculate how much force you've been hit with. And in this book, the scenario is an F-350, which we have a lot of around here, hits a smaller car with 4 people in it. So this is what it's all based on. And I think you would be surprised if you looked at that. It's right down there in the description, how much force you're actually hit with in a collision. Most people have no idea. But anyway, let's get started. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to begin with a rear end collision. So this is a car. This is an old Nova, and it's just a sedan. 4 people would be in it, and we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the driver. We're going to talk about the front seat passenger, then the rear seat passenger, and on the driver's side, and the rear passenger on the passenger side. And we're going to go through all of the types of injuries that people in these car wrecks could have. So the first thing you got to realize is where you're hit across the back makes a difference. So if you're hit, for instance, on the driver's side, then you're going to get a different kind of force throughout the car than you're going to get if you're hit on the passenger side. If you're hit full on, you're going to get a different kind of force than you would a force on either side. So where you're hit in the rear end collision, as far as, where the car is hit, that makes a big difference. Now, we've got our usual cast of characters here, and I'm going to be pulling them in and using them, and there's a lot to cover. We're going to start with Skinny here, our skeleton, and we're going to start with as the driver in a rear end collision. Well, let's look at what happens. Let's put Skinny down right here, and let's assume he's doing the right thing and that he's restrained. So what does that mean? That means he's going to have a strap coming from here all the way over here to his hip to restrain him. The force is going to be coming from behind. And what is that force going to do? Well, that force is going to propel him forward. His neck is going to snap forward. From that, you can see, and all of this right in here is going to be hurt. And remember, he's restrained, so that shoulder strap of the seatbelt is going to pull him back. And what is that going to do? That's going to take his neck very hard in the opposite direction, just like this. This is called hyperextension and hyperflexion of the neck. This leads to ligament laxity. On this channel, we've talked about ligament laxity before. I'll go over it some more. So that's the first thing that you're going to look for. The second thing, I'll go through most of it here, and just remember, as I talk about it in some of the other positions, it remains the same. So this is your spinal column. This right here is the base of the skull. So when you're pushed forward, you can see, when you're pushed forward, you can see right here where all of these ligaments and tendons are stretched. When your head snaps back, you can see on the opposite side where they're all stretched. All of this causes injury. Now, what does this injury look like? Well, first and foremost, you need to realize when your ligament is stretched, and that's a ligament anywhere in your body, anywhere in your body. And I don't care if it's stretched in your knee. I don't care if it's stretched in your shoulder joint, or if it's stretched cervically, anywhere. Once it is stretched, it never, ever, ever goes back to the same size. And what can happen is when you have this stretching, you can also have what's called disc impingement. And if you look at this right here is a good representation of what a disc looks like. And when it's compressed and moved, you see it can bulge. Over here, you can see what it looks like if you have a protrusion. I don't know if you can see that little bulge come out, and you can see it hit the nerve root right there. That is what causes you pain. And all of these nerve roots can become inflamed. All of these tendons get loose. And then suddenly, your muscles and your tendons and your ligaments can't perform the job that God intended them to perform when He designed our bodies. So that's when you begin to have your pain. So apart from that, you also need to be careful if your head hits the side glass, or if the airbag goes off and pops you in the face, or if your head hits the steering wheel, or if your head hits the front dashboard, or the back of the seat if you're in the back seat. All of these things can cause brain bleeds all the way around your skull, all the way around in here. If your head is violently shaken, what happens is, I'm going to take the brain in half here, this top half of the brain right here will move back and forth like that, while the bottom half of the brain stays in this cup-like enclosure. Now what this does, it causes something called brain shear. And what that means is all the micro capillaries, all the little bitty blood vessels, they break and the brain will bleed. But in the brain, the processes are different than the rest of the body. It doesn't bruise. You can't have a brain bruise. You can only have a brain bleed. And when the body reabsorbs that, because there's no place for swelling or anything like that, it leaves a hole in your brain. Yes, your brain becomes like Swiss cheese. Let me keep going through this. So we've got concussions, we've got temporal mandibular joint disorder, which is, let me bring this fella back. This is this joint right here. You can see your joint right here, your jawbone moves back and forth like this, just like this. Thousands of times. This is the most used joint in the human body. Every time you chew, breathe, eat, anything, you use this joint. So in the front seat driver, if you're hit and you are propelled forward, the things you need to look for: concussion, brain bleeds, rotator cuff injuries. You are going to have ligament laxity. It's gonna happen. All of these things are things that you need to look for. And don't forget, a lot of times we see our clients' knees impacted. They're like this anyway, and they'll go forward into the dashboard, and we have all kinds of issues with the knees right in through here. Ligament laxity is one of them. That's how you get a wobbly knee. A broken kneecap, they call it a patella, but that's your kneecap. All kinds of derangements of the inner workings of the knee. All of these things are the things that you need to look for and that insurance adjuster is never going to tell you about. Now, if you are, let's bring the car back. If you are in the front seat, you're going to have the same type of injuries, but instead of hitting the steering wheel, you may hit what is called the B pillar, which is this. The B pillar is right here. That's the side one, or the A pillar. Just depending on if you're hit from this side, your body is going to twist and turn and be more likely to hit the B pillar or the A pillar or the dashboard. But the same type of injuries, and depending on where you were hit, are what you need to look for in that type of injury. Now, let's go to the rear passengers. You have the same type of injuries all the way across the board. You're going to hit the front of the, you're going to hit the back of the front seat, hit the back of the front seat. Now that's padded, but that doesn't mean that you cannot have injuries all the way across here. Your brain, the bottom of your brain comes down just below your nose. So right about there and all the way back, that's the cup-like part of your brain. And when you impact that headrest, it can cause problems all the way through here, including sinus bleeds. Your sinuses can bleed. You'll see a lot of bloody noses. But what else that indicates is that it may have been hit so hard, you can have a disorder of your inner ear, which will affect your balance and your everyday life. So the possibility and probability of a rotator cuff injury is just as severe as in the front seat. If you're on the driver's side, it's going to be your left shoulder. If you're on the passenger side, it's going to be your right shoulder. So again, where you're hit, your head could go this way or your head could go that way. In the back seat, passengers, the frame of the seat becomes your enemy, the console becomes your enemy, and knee injuries are quite common. And people don't think to associate knee pain when you're in the back seat of a car wreck, but that's exactly where it comes from. So let me go through and just say that each and every one of these injuries is predictable. Once we understand the mechanism of the collision, we can go and figure out the mechanism of the injury. And here at John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers, we are fanatics about getting and preserving that evidence so that we can go through it with you and ask you the questions that your doctor, your ordinary doctor, who I call Dr. Sniffles and Dr. Flu, they're not trauma trained. They're not going to know to ask. If you want treatment for trauma, you have to go to a trauma trained doctor. Most people don't know one. That's okay. Don't let that be a barrier to you getting treatment. We can get you to the appropriate doctors to get you the best treatment that your injuries require. So let me wrap all this up and say, we would love to look at your case. We would love to help you. We're open 24/7, 365. Our motto is, if you're hurt and we're working, you can follow this link and you can go straight to the office right now and we can begin the process of looking at your case. Or again, if you're the impatient type, you can call us. 888-WE-FIGHT. We'll get started right away. We're open 365, 24/7, 365. We never close. So just remember, who are you going to call when you want to get it all? John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. Finally, please like, subscribe, share, smoke signals to your friends, whatever. Help us get the channel out there so people can get this information and use it to protect themselves. Say it again, 888-WE-FIGHT. We'd love to hear from you. And then finally, if you can hear my voice, I wish you peace and joy, and I hope to talk to everybody real soon. 888-WE-FIGHT.